Welcome again to the studios of WCMU Public Media. This time a second round game between White Cloud and Traverse City St. Francis. We have that coming up for you next. Hello again, everyone. I'm David Nicholas, and welcome to Quiz Central. This time we have students from White Cloud taking on the team from Traverse City St. Francis in this, our 16-team single elimination tournament. Top teams from Quiz Central will qualify for the NAQT High School National Championship Tournament. All right, now let's get to our game. The first round is the Maroon and Gold Rush. Teams will have 2 minutes to answer as many toss-up questions as they can. If a team answers incorrectly, the opposing school has an opportunity to answer that question. Teams may not consult during this round, and players will receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. We'll indicate that by an orange light above their name. Answers are worth 10 points apiece with no deduction for incorrect answers. Teams ready? Players ready? Here we go. Here comes your first question. What metal's corrosion forms a blue-green pigment called a patina, which can be seen on the Statue of Liberty?
Copper.
That is correct. What color is indicated by the Arabic word abyad, the Hebrew word lavan, and the Hindi word safed, the Italian word bianca, and the German word weiß?
White.
That is correct. John and Charles Wesley founded what 18th century Protestant movement which emphasized personal holiness and revivalist preaching?
Transcendentalism.
Incorrect. Traverse City to guess. Next question, what country whose most populous city is in the Klang Valley and contains the Petronas Towers is an Asian nation whose capital is Kuala Lumpur?
Indonesia.
Incorrect. White Cloud for the steal.
Mongolia.
Incorrect also. Toss up for both. What U.S. rock band, which shares its name with a city, had hits with the tracks Make Me Smile, 25 or 6 to 4, and If You Leave Me Now?
Chicago.
That is correct. What civilization whose 8th century collapse affected cities such as Copan used the Cholquin and long count calendars in what is now Guatemala?
Aztec.
Incorrect. Traverse City to steal.
The Mayan.
That is correct. What Arab country for which Senator Bob Menendez was convicted of working as a foreign agent in 2024 is led by Abdel Fattah el-Sisi from Cairo? And we get to the close of that round. We'll go back over those that were missed. John and Charles Wesley, the Protestant movement they founded was the Methodist Church, rather. Also, the country whose most populous city is in the Klang Valley. We are looking for Malaysia. At the close of the first round, the Maroon and Gold Rush, White Cloud has the early lead of 30-10 over Traverse City St. Francis. And now, before we start our next round, let's learn a little more about our students competing today. First, we will learn a little bit more about the team from Traverse City St. Francis.
Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm a senior at Traverse City St. Francis High School, and I'm one of the drum majors for our marching band.
Hi, my name is Philip. I go to St. Francis High School. I play baseball and the drums.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm a senior at St. Francis High School, and I play rugby.
Hi, my name is Mara. I'm a senior at St. Francis High School, and I'm the captain of the robotics team and the stage manager in the musical.
Good to have you here, Traverse City St. Francis. A chance now to say hello to the students from White Cloud.
Hi, my name is Mason Delamater. I'm a sophomore at White Cloud High School, and I do football, basketball, and track.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm a senior, and I run cross and track, and I was the drum major for the marching season.
Hello, my name is Liam Povey. I go to White Cloud High School. I participate in Quiz Bowl, football, track, and weightlifting.
Hi, my name is Brian Lovelace. I go to White Cloud High School. I participate in band, chess, and quiz bowl.
And a big thank you to all of our students, both our teams here today. Our next round on Quiz Central is the kickoff round, and this round includes a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up will get the opportunity to answer a single bonus question. No stealing on the bonuses. After a bonus question, we'll go back to a toss-up for both teams. Remember, players receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. If our players and our buzzers are all ready, here comes your first question. In what state did U.S. forces lose the Battle of Bladensburg in 1814, forcing James Madison's government to flee?
Vermont.
Incorrect. White Cloud?
Virginia.
Incorrect also. Toss up for both. What microorganisms, which include the species Saccharomyces cerevisiae, are types of fungi, some of whom create alcohol or CO2 in fermentation?
Yeasts.
That is correct. Now to the bonus for White Cloud. What Democratic politician, the target of a thwarted kidnapping plot in 2020, defeated Tudor Nixon to win re-election in 2022 as governor of Michigan?
Whitmer.
That is correct. Back to the toss-up for both. What city is known locally as Hamar, contains the Mosque of Islamic Solidarity, was the setting of Black Hawk Down, and is the capital of Somalia?
Mogadishu.
That is correct. Bonus for White Cloud. Carl Sagan curated the golden records for what space program whose numerically first probe entered interstellar space in 2012?
Voyager.
That is correct. Back to the toss-up for both. What event, travel to which was protected by the Ikaria Truce, inspired a date system of 4-year periods and was an ancient Greek sports event?
The Olympics.
Correct. And to the bonus for St. Francis, what District 12 tribute is tortured with a tragic tracker-jacker serum that alters his memories of Katniss Everdeen in Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games books?
Peeta Mellark.
Correct. Toss up for both. What quantities whose initial and equilibrium values for reactions are often written in ice tables can be reported in units of moles per liter?
Density.
That is incorrect. St. Francis to steal.
Concentration.
That is correct. Now to the bonus for you. What Dutch master's oil paintings include one depicting Dr. Nicholas Tulp giving an anatomy lesson?
Renoir.
Incorrect. Back to a toss-up for both teams. What elder brother of Vili and Ve rode an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir, sacrificed his eye for wisdom, and fathered Thor in Norse mythology?
Odin.
That is correct. Bonus for White Cloud. The Hanson writing ball was the first commercially produced version of what machine, whose electronic Selectric version was introduced by IBM in 1961?
Computer.
That is incorrect. Toss up for both. What MLB team, which traded Garrett Crochet to Boston, lost an AL record tying 21 straight games in 2024 and has a crosstown rivalry with the Cubs?
The White Sox.
That is correct. Bonus question for St. Francis. Anarchist Alexander Berkman stabbed executive Henry Clay Frick during what 1892 strike at a Western Pennsylvania steel mill?
I don't know the name of it. Workers' strike.
Incorrect there. Back to a toss-up for both teams. What woman who launched the Let's Move campaign in 2010 wrote the memoir Becoming and served as First Lady when her husband Barack was president?
Michelle Obama.
Correct. And the bonus for St. Francis. What kinds of numbers, which include 6, 28 and 496 equal the sum of their proper positive divisors?
Even numbers?
Even numbers?
Incorrect.
I didn't hear the other numbers.
What man was crowned King of Italy by Pope Adrian IV, won at Legnano against the Lombard League, drowned in the Salif River, and had a red beard?
Richard the Lionheart.
Incorrect.
Frederick Barbarossa?
That is correct. Now to the bonus. What second largest island in the world is separated from Australia by the Torres Strait?
New Zealand?
Incorrect there. And we get to the close of that round 2. Let's go back over those that were missed. The state that the U.S. forces lost in the Battle of Bladensburg. We were looking for Maryland, was the name of the state there. The Dutch masters' oil paintings, the artist we were looking for was Rembrandt. The Hansen writing bell, that became introduced by IBM in 1961 as the electronic typewriter. Anarchist Alexander Bergman did the stabbing of the executive in the Homestead strike. The kinds of numbers, 6, 28, and 496, those are perfect numbers. And the second largest island in the world, we were looking for New Guinea. And White Cloud holds a 10-point lead as we'll head into our third round today, and that is the Perfect 10. In the Perfect 10, you'll have 60 seconds to answer questions from a choice of clues to 3 categories. The opposing team will have 30 seconds to answer any unasked, incorrect, or skipped questions. You can consult throughout the entire round, and we'll take the answers from the captain. The team currently trailing gets the first choice to pick a clue to a category today. Traverse City, St. Francis, we come to you first. You get your choice from these 3 categories: virtual visit, clutch your pearls, or nautical wheelers.
Clutch your pearls. Clutch your pearls.
Clutch your pearls is your choice. Pearls. Answer the following about pearls. And your Perfect 10 with 60 seconds on the clock begins with this. Hawaiian Naval Base bombed in 1941.
Pearl Harbor.
Item of pearl jewelry worn by a girl in a Jan van Meer portrait.
Necklace.
Film series in which Jack Sparrow captains the Black Pearl.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Grunge band fronted by Eddie Vedder.
Pearl Jam.
French composer of the operas The Pearl Fishers and Carmen.
Pass.
Game in which ender pearls can be used to teleport.
Minecraft.
Country whose 3rd longest river is the Pearl River.
Brazil.
Iridescent material also called nacre.
Pearlison.
American author of The Good Earth.
Pass.
New Testament book describing heaven as having, and we don't get time to get that question all in. We're coming over to you to White Cloud to pick up as many of those and any remaining questions as you can in 30 seconds. Again, the category was Clutch Your Pearls. The clue, pearls. Answer the following about pearls. And your 30 seconds here in the back half of this Perfect 10 begins with this. Item of pearl jewelry worn by a girl in a Jan Vermeer portrait.
Sorry.
French composer of the operas The Pearl Fishers and Carmen.
Who? Passé.
Country whose 3rd longest river is the Pearl River.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Iridescent material also called nacre.
Pearlescent.
American author of The Good Earth.
Buck.
Buck.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And we go back to the country. The 3rd longest river is the Pearl River. We were looking for China. The iridescent material is mother of pearl. and the New Testament book describing heaven as having 12 gates, the book of Revelation. All right, White Cloud, we come to you now for your choice. You have 2 categories remaining, virtual visit and nautical wheelers.
Nautical stuff could either be oceans or like
You want to do nautical?
Let's go.
We'll do the nautical one.
Nautical wheelers
Yeah,
is
that's what it
your
is.
choice.
That thing.
And the clue here, give these terms and phrases used by sailors or on ships.
Oh, you got oh.
Again, for nautical wheelers, give these terms and phrases used by sailors or on ships. 60 seconds for your perfect 10 begins with this. Left when facing a ship's front.
Aft.
Yeah.
Aft.
Rear of a ship.
Aft.
Aft.
Tall post supporting
Mast.
sails or rigging.
Mast.
Unit of speed abbreviated KN.
Nautical mile.
Yeah, knots.
Small vessel that tows a larger vessel in a harbor.
Tugboat.
Tugboat.
A ship's jail.
Break.
Break.
Spine of a ship's hull hauling sailors under it was once a brutal punishment.
No, pass.
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 Elevated command area that often houses the wheel.
Wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse.
And a little bit more info on that?
Captain's wheelhouse.
Incorrect. The tilt of a ship left or right, often from taking on water.
Pass.
Pass.
And we come to the close of that one. We did not get that in totally, but we come over to you, Traverse City, St. Francis. You now have, as you know, 30 seconds to pick up on the missed or unanswered questions in that part of the Perfect 10. Again, we're looking at nautical wheelers. Give these terms and phrases used by sailors or on ships. Your 30 seconds in this part of the Perfect 10 begins with this. Left when facing a ship's front.
Starboard.
Rear of a ship.
Hull.
Spine of a ship's hull hauling sailors under it was once a brutal punishment.
Pass.
Elevated command area that often houses the wheel.
Wheelhouse deck. Wheelhouse deck.
The tilt of a ship left or right, often from taking on water. We have an answer there at the bell? All right. The review there, we have left when facing a ship's front is port. The rear of the ship is called the stern. The spine of a ship's hull, we were looking for the keel. And the elevated command area housing the wheel, that's called the bridge. The tilt of a ship left or right, often from taking on water, that is when the ship is list or listing. And with the close of that Perfect 10 round, round 3, right now, White Cloud has the lead 150 to 110 for Traverse City St. Francis. We are heading to the home stretch. And in the home stretch, I'll ask a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up gets the opportunity to answer a single bonus question. No stealing on the bonuses, and after a bonus question, we'll then go back to a toss-up for both teams. Players do receive the 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. Buzzers ready? Here comes your first question. An offense committed against Abrela Femor inspired what mock epic by Alexander Pope, which dramatizes a baron's attempt to cut off a piece of hair?
The Rape of the Lock?
Correct. And the bonus for White Cloud, what artist who depicted a bullfight in the hallucinogenic Toreador
Dali.
depicted crawling ants and melting clocks in the persistence of memory?
Dali.
Correct. Back to a toss-up for both teams. What man announced a policy of glasnost to improve domestic freedoms while serving as the last leader of the Soviet Union?
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev is correct. Your bonus. What comedian who claims to have graduated from business school, quote, with really good grades, addressed aviation safety in his HBO show, The Rehearsal?
Rehearsal. Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Before.
Jim Carrey.
That is incorrect. Toss up for both. What author depicted the town of Talragib in the radio play Under Milk Wood and urged rage, rage in his poem Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night?
Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas is correct. The bonus question now. Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head was written for what 1969 Western film starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford as the title Outlaws?
What's that? The Outsider? Wait, what's that?
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Go for it.
Right. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That is incorrect. Back to a toss-up. What document which formed a perpetual union did not give the federal government taxation power and was replaced by the current U.S. Constitution?
Articles of Confederation.
That is correct. The bonus
Stutters.
for White Cloud. What country whose second populous city is Chiang Mai has had 10 kings named Rama?
Probably India.
Yeah.
India.
Incorrect there. Back to a toss-up for both. What cosmologist names a tuning fork sequence for classifying galaxies and a space telescope that was replaced by the James Webb Telescope?
Hubble.
Hubble is correct. Now for the bonus. What Mongol emperor commissioned the Taj Mahal for his consort, Mumtaz?
I don't think who built it.
Just give me the name.
Lahori.
Who?
Lahori?
Lahori.
Incorrect there. Toss up now for both. What novel in which a character's communist boyfriend is framed for murdering Mary Dalton by her actual killer, Bigger Thomas, is by Richard Wright?
Native Son?
Correct. And the bonus, what essay by Virginia Woolf imagined the life of the hypothetical Judith Shakespeare and argued that women writers require private space?
To the Lighthouse.
To the Lighthouse.
Incorrect. Toss up now for both. What board game for which Nigel Richards memorized French and Spanish is played on a 15 by 15 grid and tasks players with using tiles to make words?
Scrabble.
Correct. And the bonus for St. Francis, according to an analog of Newton's second law of motion, what quantity equals the moment of inertia times the angular acceleration?
Torque.
That is correct. Back to a toss-up for both. What devices whose dial type work through expansion of a bimetallic strip may also use a tube filled with ethanol or mercury to measure temperature?
Thermometer.
Thermometer is correct. A bonus for St. Francis. The U.S. Congress passed the Teller Amendment and Platt Amendment to formalize policy toward what country after the Spanish-American War?
Mexico.
Spain.
Spain is incorrect. Back to the toss-up for both. What law, portions of which were struck down in 2013's Shelby County v. Holder case, banned literacy tests to determine eligibility to cast a ballot? Another up, and the close of that round, round 4. We'll go back over the questions that were missed. The comedian who claims to have graduated from business school, we were looking for Nathan Fielder. The Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, that film was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The country's second populous city, we were looking for Thailand. And the Mughal emperor commissioned the Taj Mahal, we were looking for Shah Jahan. The essay by Virginia Woolf was A Room of One's Own. And the U.S. Congress passed the Teller Amendment and Platt Amendment, making the relations with Cuba after the Spanish-American War. And the law, portions of which were struck down in 2013, that was the Voting Rights Act of 1965. White Cloud holds a 220 to 140 lead as we enter the final countdown, and in the final countdown, teams will have 2 minutes to answer as many toss-up questions as they can. If a team answers incorrectly, the opposing school has an opportunity to answer the question. Teams may not consult during this round. Players do receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. We'll indicate that by an orange light to appear above their name. All right, if our two teams, all of our players are ready, buzzers ready, here comes your first question. In what country was a new 2025 inquest launched over a Halloween 2022 crowd-crushing incident in Awan at the order of President Lee Jae-myung?
China.
Incorrect. Traverse City to steal?
Taiwan.
Taiwan also incorrect. What 1962 book by Rachel Carson documented the effects of pesticides like DDT on wildlife?
Silent Spring.
That is correct. Next toss-up for both. What novel in which the killing of a boy named Ikemefuna brings a curse on the family of Okonkwo is set in colonial Nigeria and is by Chinua Achebe?
Things Fall Apart.
That is correct. Next question. What technique used by the clarinet in the opening of Rhapsody in Blue is the act of continuously sliding from one note to another?
A trill.
Glissando.
That is correct. What indigenous people driven to Bosque Redondo by Kit Carson in The Long Walk have the largest U.S. reservation and were World War II code talkers?
The Ajabo.
That's incorrect.
The Navajo.
Navajo is correct. Fredericton is the capital of what Canadian province whose southeastern border is on the Bay of Fundy?
New Brunswick.
New Brunswick is correct. In computing, traversing a tree is typically done using what type of method in which a function repeatedly called, and we don't get through that entire question at the end of the round. Let's check the ones that were missed. The inquest launched over Halloween 2022. We are looking for South Korea. And with the close of that round and the close of our game, our winners today, White Cloud 260 to Traverse City St. Francis 150. A nice round for all of our players today. Good job, Traverse City St. Francis. Thanks for competing in this round today. White Cloud, congratulations to you. You will be moving on. And when next we move on to another game of Quiz Central, we hope to have all of you with us once again here on WCMU. For all of us here at Quiz Central, I'm David Nicholas. You all have a very good night.